Beloved, you are not here by accident. This moment, right here, is a divine appointment. There is a purpose to every breath you take, a reason for every beat of your heart. God has brought you here today, not by chance, but by his infinite design, a design that transcends what you can see and understand. God, in his wisdom, calls to each of us, whispering to our hearts, inviting us to step into the life he has uniquely planned for us. There is a deep, divine truth that runs through the very fabric of our being, a truth that we were created for a purpose far beyond ourselves. Today, I ask you to open your heart to the undeniable truth that God is calling you. This is no ordinary message. This is the voice of the Creator, who, from the beginning of time, has known your name. He is calling you into something greater, greater than your circumstances, greater than your fasto, and greater than you have yet dared to imagine. It may feel like the world is too loud, the chaos too great, but hear this: God is speaking directly to you. He is calling you into a place of purpose, a place where his plan for your life unfolds like a beautiful tapestry, thread by thread, each moment leading to the next. This is the moment where you stop and listen, where you pause long enough to hear his voice above the noise of your life. In the quiet whispers of the Holy Spirit, God is telling you it is time. Time to step out of the shadows. Time to rise from the struggles and the doubts and to embrace the calling he has placed on your life. The transformation you have longed for is within your grasp. But to claim it, you must first answer the call. Do not doubt for a second that God's plan for you is perfect. No matter what your journey has looked like so far, no matter the valleys you have walked through or the storms you have weathered, God has been with you every step of the way, leading you, shaping you, and preparing you for this moment. Your life has always been part of a much grander design. Remember, Jesus himself calls out to us. He invites us to come to him, to trust in him, and to allow his strength to work in us. It is not by our power that we are transformed, but by his. It is not by our wisdom that we find purpose, but by his grace. In John 10:27, Jesus says, "My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me." This is the call. Jesus knows you. He knows your struggles, your hopes, and your deepest desires. And he calls you to follow him, to trust in his ways, and to take your place in his divine story. It's easy to become overwhelmed by the world's distractions, to believe the lies that your past defines you, or that you are too small to make a difference. But I tell you today, God has not made you small, and he has not forgotten you. You are his masterpiece, created for a purpose beyond what you can yet see. Just as God called Abraham, Moses, David, and countless others to greatness, he is calling you too. Will you rise up and step into the calling he has for you? The world may offer you many paths, each promising success, happiness, and fulfillment, but none of them compare to the path that God has laid before you. His path is one of eternal purpose, one that brings peace in the midst of chaos, joy in the face of adversity, and a sense of fulfillment that cannot be found in anything else. As we continue on this journey together, I urge you to consider this question with all seriousness. Will you answer God's call? Will you step forward, embracing his invitation to a life of purpose, peace, and transformation? Now, I know that answering this call is not always easy. The road to fulfilling God's purpose for our lives is not always straight, nor is it always clear. But take heart, for God is with you every step of the way. He will guide you, protect you, and give you the strength you need. In Isaiah 41:10, God promises, "Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you, I will help you, I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." Do not let fear hold you back from embracing this divine invitation. Fear of failure, fear of the unknown, fear of not being enough. These are all tactics the enemy uses to keep us from stepping into the fullness of God's calling. But I tell you today, God has equipped you for this moment. You are not lacking. You are not insufficient. You are more than able because God is with you. Consider the lives of those who have gone before us, the saints, the martyrs, the missionaries. Each of them was called by God to do something extraordinary. They too faced challenges, doubts, and fears. But they answered the call. They said yes to God's invitation. And because of that, they changed the world. And you too can make a difference. Your life, your story, has the potential to impact generations. God's call is not just about the big moments, the grand gestures. It's about being faithful in the small things, the moments when no one is looking, the quiet acts of kindness, the decisions you make when you think no one notices. These are the moments that God uses to shape us, to refine us, and to lead us into the fullness of his purpose for our lives. The call to follow Christ is a call to transformation. It is a call to become more like him, more loving, more compassionate, more patient, more filled with grace. It is a call to a life that reflects the character of God in every way so that others may see his light in us and be drawn to him. So I ask you today, will you answer the call? Will you allow God to lead you into the destiny he has prepared for you? The invitation is here. The choice is yours. Let us not waste another moment. Let us stand up and take hold of the purpose that God has designed for us. This is your time, my friends. The divine call is ringing in your ears, and now is the moment to step boldly into what God has for you. In the name of Jesus, amen. As we stand at the threshold of God's divine invitation, the question we all must ask ourselves is this: do we truly trust God's timing? It's a question that often comes to our minds in moments of uncertainty, during those seasons in life when we are unsure of where the path is leading us. Many of us have found ourselves waiting for a breakthrough, waiting for an opportunity, waiting for a sign, waiting for our prayers to be answered. During these moments, it is easy to feel lost, to wonder when our moment will come or if it ever will. But what if I told you that God's timing is never late, never random, never flawed? That the waiting itself is part of a divine plan that is shaping you, preparing you for something extraordinary? That what may seem like a delay in your life is actually the perfect preparation for God's purposes to be fulfilled? What if I told you that in the waiting, God is aligning the pieces of your life, every sorrow, every challenge, every moment of hardship, into a masterpiece that he is crafting for you? It's easy to look around and see the success stories of others, to feel discouraged when it seems like everyone else is advancing while we remain in the waiting room of life. But I want to remind you today that God sees things differently. What you may perceive as a delay is actually his perfect timing. What you may see as a pause in your life is a period of divine preparation. God is not holding you back. He is preparing you for something greater than you could have ever imagined. When we look at the Bible, we see countless stories of men and women who had to wait for God's timing. Look at Abraham and Sarah, who waited decades for the promise of a child. Imagine the pain and frustration they must have felt, wondering if God had forgotten them. And yet, in his perfect timing, God gave them Isaac, a promise fulfilled beyond what they could have imagined. Then there's the story of Joseph, who spent years in prison, waiting for the dream God gave him to come to fruition. It was a time filled with betrayal, rejection, and suffering. But those years in the wilderness were not wasted. They were part of God's grand design to raise Joseph up as a ruler in Egypt, to save his family and an entire nation from famine. His waiting period was not in vain. It was God's preparation. What if your current season of waiting is a similar preparation? What if you are being molded and shaped, not by your circumstances, but by God's divine hand? God sees the whole picture, and he knows what you need and when you need it. His timing is never too early, never too late. It is always perfect. It is not a delay, but a divine design. I know that waiting can feel unbearable. It can feel like a never-ending cycle of hope and disappointment. But I urge you to hold on, to trust in God's faithfulness. The Bible tells us in Psalm 27:14, "Wait for the Lord, be strong and take heart and wait for the Lord." Waiting is not passive. It is an active choice to trust that God is working behind the scenes, orchestrating every detail of your life. The Apostle Paul writes in Romans 8:28, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose." Everything you have gone through, the trials, the heartaches, the disappointments, the successes, all of it is part of God's plan for your life. Nothing is wasted in his kingdom. Every single moment is a brushstroke on the canvas of your life that he is painting. And while you may not always understand why things are happening the way they are, know that God is never idle. He is at work in every season. So how do we wait with faith? How do we trust when everything seems uncertain and the answers seem far away? We do so by focusing on God's promises. We remind ourselves that He is good, that He is faithful, and that He has a plan for our lives. We trust that the one who created the universe, who parted the Red Sea, who raised Jesus from the dead, is fully capable of fulfilling His promises in our lives. We remember that the waiting is never wasted. As we wait, we are called to be faithful in the small things. God is preparing us for something bigger, and He uses this time to grow our character, our faith, and our patience. We are not waiting for nothing. We are waiting for something. And when that moment comes, when God's perfect timing unfolds, you will be ready. You will be prepared to step into the calling He has for you, to embrace the blessings He has in store, and to see how everything you have endured has led you to this moment. In the waiting, God is not just preparing your circumstances, He is preparing you. He is preparing your heart, your mind, and your spirit for what is to come. So don't be discouraged. Don't give up. The waiting is part of the process. The delay is not denial. God is at work. Trust in His timing. Trust that He is making all things beautiful in His time. Ecclesiastes 3:11. Remember this, His timing is perfect. Your story is not over. The best is yet to come. And when God moves, you will see how every piece of the puzzle fits together. You will see how the waiting was worth it. So I ask again, do you trust God's timing? If you do, know that you are right where you need to be. Keep waiting, keep trusting, keep believing. And when the time is right, God will reveal His plan for you, and it will be greater than anything you could have imagined. The waiting has never been in vain. God is preparing you for something extraordinary, and in His perfect timing, you will step into your destiny. Your waiting is part of God's plan. Your trust is part of His preparation, and His timing will bring everything into its perfect place. My dear friends, today I invite you to open your hearts and minds to a powerful truth, a truth that can radically change the course of your life. As we walk through this journey of faith, we are reminded that we are all called to something far greater than ourselves. We are not here by mere coincidence. No, our lives are divinely orchestrated, and God has a purpose for each of us, a purpose that transcends our daily struggles, our personal desires, and our own limited understanding. When God calls us, He invites us into a transformation that touches every part of our being. It is not just a superficial change. It is a deep, soul-shifting process, a process that moves us from living for ourselves to living for His divine purpose. The reality of this transformation is profound, for it redefines our very existence. We no longer walk through life as individuals driven by selfish desires or worldly pursuits. Instead, we step into a life of purpose, where we align ourselves with God's will and begin to live out the calling He has placed upon our hearts. This transformation is not something that happens overnight. It is a gradual, ongoing process that requires our participation. It requires a surrendering of our own plans, our own ambitions, and our own understanding of what we think life should be. God's purpose is not always aligned with our own, but as we trust in His plan, we begin to see His vision for our lives unfold in ways that are beyond anything we could have ever imagined. When we embrace this divine transformation, we step into a new reality, a reality where we no longer live for ourselves, but for God and His glory. This reality is not always easy, and it does not come without its challenges. There will be moments of doubt, moments when the road seems difficult, and moments when we question the path we are on. But I assure you, friends, that these challenges are not meant to break us. They are meant to refine us. They are part of the process that shapes us into the person God has always intended us to be. As we walk this path, we are called to be a light in the darkness. We are called to shine God's love, truth, and grace into the world around us. There are so many places in this world that need the healing touch of God's love. There are people who are hurting, people who are lost, and people who are desperately seeking hope. And it is in these places that we are called to shine. We are called to bring hope to the hopeless. to bring peace to the troubled, and to bring healing to the brokenhearted. But here's the truth. This divine purpose is not meant to be kept hidden. It is not something that we should hold on to for ourselves. God has entrusted us with His light, and it is our responsibility to share that light with others. We are not meant to hide in the shadows. We are meant to stand boldly and share the love of Christ with the world. The divine purpose that God has placed on your life is meant to be shared, to inspire others, to bring hope, and to bring healing to the world around you. Now, you may be wondering, how can I do this? How can I live out this purpose in a world that is so full of pain and confusion? The answer lies in surrender. It lies in trusting that God has equipped you with everything you need to fulfill His calling. You may not have all the answers right now, and that's okay. The beauty of God's purpose is that He doesn't call us to be perfect. He calls us to be faithful. And as we walk in obedience, He equips us to do the impossible. The first step in embracing this transformation is to surrender yourself to God's will. It is to trust that He knows what is best for you, even when you don't understand it. It is to believe that His plan for your life is greater than anything you could have ever imagined. When you surrender, you open yourself to receive the full measure of His grace and His strength. And in that place of surrender, you will find peace, purpose, and the strength to walk boldly in your divine calling. As you step into this transformation, remember that you are not walking alone. God is with you every step of the way. His presence is your strength, His wisdom is your guide, and His love is your anchor. And as you walk in His purpose, you will begin to see the world differently. You will begin to see opportunities to serve, to love, and to make a difference in ways that you never thought possible. You will begin to see the divine purpose that has been placed on your life not as something burdensome, but as something beautiful, a calling that is worth pursuing with all your heart. Friends, embrace the transformation. Embrace the divine calling that God has placed on your life. Step into the life He has designed for you, and know that as you walk in His purpose, you will experience a peace that surpasses all understanding. You will experience a joy that comes not from the world, but from the presence of God. And you will see the impact of your life ripple out into the world, bringing light to places of darkness, hope to places of despair, and healing to the broken. This is your time. This is your moment to step into the fullness of God's plan for your life. So rise up, embrace your calling, and walk in the divine purpose that has been set before you. The world is waiting for you to shine. Let your light shine brightly for all to see, and watch as God uses you to make a difference in the lives of those around you. God's purpose for your life is far greater than anything you could ever imagine. And as you step into this divine transformation, you will become the person He has always intended you to be, a person who lives for His glory, who walks in His love, and who brings His healing to a hurting world. Embrace the transformation. Walk in your divine purpose. The best is yet to come. Friends, we are standing on the edge of something incredible. It is a moment like no other, a time in history when God is calling us to step into a new era. A new chapter is unfolding in His divine plan for our lives, and it is a moment we have been prepared for, whether we realize it or not. As we walk by faith, trusting in God's perfect timing and embracing the transformation He has already begun in us, we are not just witnessing a shift in the world around us. We are part of something much bigger, something that will impact generations to come. This is not just another chapter in your story. This is the moment when everything changes. The veil that has long hidden the fullness of God's plan is being lifted, and He is revealing the complete vision He has for your life. A vision that is not bound by the constraints of the world. No, this is a vision of greatness, of divine purpose, of love that stretches beyond the limits of human understanding. It is a vision that calls you to greatness, not based on the world's standards of success, but based on a heavenly blueprint designed with love and grace. Can you feel it? The winds of change are sweeping through the earth, and they are carrying us into a new era, a time of spiritual awakening. It is a time when we are being invited to take our rightful place in the unfolding of God's kingdom here on earth. The time to act is not tomorrow, not next week, but now. The moment is here and you are ready. Everything you have experienced in your life up to this point has prepared you for this very moment. The trials, the joys, the struggles, and the triumphs have been part of the divine preparation for what comes next. As you stand on the threshold of this new chapter, I want you to remember this. You are not alone. God has been with you every step of the way, and He has been preparing your heart for the work ahead. His hand has guided you, shaped you, and strengthened you for the divine mission He has entrusted to you. It is not by your might nor by your power, but by His Spirit that you will walk into this new season with confidence and courage. For this is not just any journey. This is a journey of divine purpose. The world around us may seem chaotic, and the challenges we face may feel overwhelming at times. But I urge you not to focus on the circumstances, but on the promise that God has made to us. His vision for your life is greater than anything you could ever imagine. His plans for you are for good, to give you a future and a hope. Jeremiah 29:11. And though the road ahead may not always be easy, He will be with you, guiding you, and walking beside you every step of the way. He is preparing you for the work He has called you to do, and He will equip you with everything you need to fulfill His will. This is the moment to trust deeply in God's perfect timing. We live in a world that often demands instant results, that wants everything yesterday, but God's timing is different. His timing is perfect, even when it feels like we are waiting or that the answer is delayed. Know this, God is never late. His plan is unfolding at exactly the right time, and you are exactly where He wants you to be. Trust in that timing, for it is part of His grand design. The new era is not just a time of waiting for change to come. It is a time of active participation. God is calling you to take part in His divine plan right now. You have a role to play, and your involvement is crucial. No matter what your background, your age, or your past, you are invited to be a part of this spiritual awakening that is taking place across the world. The world needs your unique gifts, your voice, your perspective. This is the moment for you to step out in bold faith and trust that God is leading you exactly where you need to go. As you move forward, I encourage you to do so with unshakable faith. Faith that does not waver in the face of fear, but rises above it. Faith that believes in the promises of God, even when they seem impossible. Faith that says, "Yes, Lord, I am willing, I am ready, me for your glory." This is the kind of faith that will propel you into the divine purpose God has set before you. And as you step into this new chapter, I want you to know that you are not just walking into a new season of your life. You are walking into a season of transformation, a season where your purpose will become clearer, your influence will grow, and your life will be marked by the impact of the divine vision God has placed in your heart. You will be part of something larger than yourself, part of a movement that is changing the world. You see, this new era is not just about what God is doing in your life. It is about what He is doing through you. He is calling you to be a beacon of light in a world that so desperately needs it, to be an example of His love, His grace, and His truth, to live a life that speaks louder than words, one that reflects the beauty of His kingdom here on earth. So what will you do? Will you answer the call? Will you step into this new era with boldness, trusting in God's perfect timing and His divine vision for your life? I pray that you will, for the journey ahead is one of purpose, power, and transformation. It is a journey that will not only change your life, but the lives of those around you. Friends, the new era is here, and it is time to step forward. God is calling you to rise up, to embrace the divine vision He has for your life, and to walk boldly into the future He has prepared for you. Step forward with courage, with faith, and with the assurance that He who has called you is faithful. The journey ahead is one of divine purpose, and you are a vital part of God's grand design. Let's step into this new chapter with open hearts and unwavering faith, knowing that we are walking in His divine will and that the best is yet to come.